Hello, hi, and welcome to the new vlog. So, reading plans for this vlog. I'm currently reading Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. I am actually almost done with it. I have a little bit less than 100 pages. And yes, so I'm gonna finish this, which I should either finish it today or tomorrow. Definitely at least by tomorrow, this will be done and read, and I will give you guys my final thoughts on it. I'm not gonna lie, it's taken me a little bit longer than usual to get through this. Not that I'm not enjoying it, but I'm like kind of slumpy, but like not so much of a slump that like I don't want to read it all, but I'm just reading really slowly. And yeah, so it's been a little bit of a long one for this one, but we will finally finish it. I think I've already been reading it for like a week now, which again does not reflect the book, but reflects myself. So there's that. But I also have to figure out what I'm going to read after that. So this is the rest of my stack from my spring TBR. I gotta say, I have been absolutely killing it on actually reading for my spring TBR. I have done a fantastic job, if I do say so myself. But we do have a few more books on that list to get through by June. I think June 21st is like technically the end of spring. So we're doing good. We're looking good. I'm still going to pick a book from this stack and start it. But if my mood, especially with how slumpy I've been, if my mood makes me want to set one of these books aside that I may start and pick up a book that I get delivered instead, I'm gonna do that because right now I really need to let my mood pick out my books because I don't want to get in a reading slump, and I really just want to read a book that I think I'm going to absolutely love. But nonetheless, I am really excited to read from this stack. So I'm definitely not going to read Queen of Shadows next because this one's been a little bit of a draggy book for me. Again, not a reflection of the book, just a reflection of myself. So I think I need to switch gears and not do a fantasy romance. I think I've just done a few too many fantasy romance, and I just want to jump into a different genre. So I do have The Troop by Nick Cutter that just became available to me on audiobook on my Libby app. So I will actually be starting this on audiobook within the next couple days too. I'm also currently reading or listening to Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and I should also be done listening to that either tomorrow or the next day. But so that will become available to me on audiobook. So I'm actually going to start that. So we're going to set aside the physical book for now. And then these two I kind of want to read in a single vlog together because they're very feminist feeling historical fiction, and I'm not currently quite in the mood for that, but I want to read these two together, like back to back, when I am in the mood for that. While I am really excited to read Daisy Hates eventually, I'm just not totally grabbing towards it right now. So I think our winner is going to be The Ritual by Adam Neville. I am super excited to read this. I have seen the movie, and that's kind of all I know about the story is what I know of the movie. So I don't know how close this is going to follow the movie. And honestly, I watched the movie maybe 4 years ago. Like it's been years. It's been years since I watched the movie. Whenever it came out on Netflix is when I watched it. So it's been a few years. So I don't like fully remember the story, but it's very folk horror based. The only other book I've read by Adam Neville was, what was it? It's the book with the old lady on the cover. It's a short story. I feel like it's called The Vessel, or just Vessel. It's either The Vessel or Vessel. And that was such a good book. I highly recommend it. I thought it was fantastic. What he was able to accomplish in that short amount of pages was just like, wow, it was so good. It was in my top books of 2022, but that's not what we're here for, are we? But that book was great. So I'm really excited to read this once we finish Heir of Fire. So other than that, personal plans, life plans. So I am going to be going to the Cleveland Botanical Gardens with my aunt, doing a little breakfast date with her, doing that. So that'll be fun. So I'll take you guys along. And what else? I think that's kind of it, actually. I think that's all my plans so far. Hopefully I find something else to do. I'm sure I will get some, oh, speaking of mail, I actually have a package. That is right here. So I have another package from Book Babe Designs, and I have some other stuff coming from her too. So you guys will see probably 2 or 3 freaking unboxings in this vlog. Oh my God, what is this box? That was a horrible noise, sorry. Here it is. I got a new mug from her. Oh my God, it's so stinking cute. I love the little mushies. So this was part of her spring collection. Oh, I love it. It's so cute. So yeah, that's it right now. So for the rest of the night, I am going to read Air of Fire. I've really been having a lot of cravings lately, so I'm going to make some super buttery popcorn and get a bowl of pickles together. And that's going to be my snack for tonight. Read Air of Fire, and I will update you guys when I can. I have a package from Barnes & Noble, so it is actual book mail. Are we surprised? We shouldn't be. I forgot I got this book. Okay. I am so excited. I want to read all 3 of these books immediately. So I was just like casually browsing Barnes & Noble, and I saw this book. And it's like a Barnes & Noble exclusive, and I just loved the cover so much. And I've heard really good things about this author, and I actually have one of her other books on my list, but I have not actually read anything from her yet. I just thought it was so pretty, and I was like, you know what, I've heard good things about her in general, so I'm gonna get it. And I got One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. Sorry, I almost said Olivia Blake. Olivia Blake. And I think it's a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, which I haven't read one of those yet, but I'm excited. It involves like witches, and there is end page art. But yeah, so I got that. I don't know when I'll read it. Also, I got One Dark Window by Rachel Gilling. I am so excited to read this. I have heard nothing but fantastic things, and it sounds just like a book that I'm going to eat up. It's like a gothic romance I don't know. I don't even remember. But like, I just know that every time I hear somebody talk about it, I'm like, that sounds like so good. That sounds like a book that I'm going to love. So I decided to pick it up and I'm super excited to read this. And then another book that has been on my list for a long time that I am also extremely excited to finally read, and that is Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant. It is a ocean-based horror book, and yeah, that's kind of like all I know. Like, I am so excited. I have been so drawn towards ocean-based horror books. I can't wait to get into this book. And I love that these two like match. Cute. Love that. Okay. So here's all the books that I just got. I want to read these all right now at the same time, but I'm super excited to have these. I have so many reading updates to give you guys. So we're going to talk about that while I get ready. So first, I did end up finishing Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. So I did enjoy it. I will say I was a little bit in like a slump and a little bit of a reading slump. So it took me way longer to read it than normally it would. So I do think that that affected my experience with it. But I will say, oh, well, let me start by saying first that this is the, what is it, the fourth? The third. So this is the third book in the Throne of Glass series, unless you count Assassin's Blade, which I think should always be counted, in which it is the fourth. So it's the third/fourth book in the Throne of Glass series, where we follow an assassin named Selena Sardathian, and she competes in a King's Championship to be the kind of king's assassin pretty much and work for the king. So I can't say too much about like the plot of Heir of Fire, but I will say we met so many new characters in this installment. We follow like 4 or 5 different storylines and people. There is a storyline that follows a witch, so that was new for this book. So there's a bunch of stuff going on in this particular book, which is like nice. But also it just took me a long time to get through it. So I feel like that tainted my experience a little bit, and that's not necessarily on the book. I don't think. I think it was mostly me. I don't think it was the book that put me in a slump. I think it was just me. I've been reading a lot of fantasy romance lately, so I think it was just whatever at that point for me. But I did still give it a 4 out of 5. I did enjoy it. I really enjoy, we got like a grumpy type of character in this one, and I really liked him. I thought that that was fun. We had some nice dynamics. And then yeah, we follow more of our other characters we've known too, and they're dealing with a lot more of this political and magical stuff going on. So that's kind of really all I have to say about Heir of Fire. So I finished that, and I'm currently in the middle of 2 books right now. So after that, I first started The Ritual by Adam Neville, and I am about halfway through. So this is a horror book, and we follow 4 guys that go on a camping/hiking trip in like the mountains of like Sweden, I think. I don't know, but there's that. And then they get lost, and then they find this like building that has all these, they start finding all these like ancient artifacts and all this weird stuff, and they get lost in a part of the forest that clearly has not been like walked through in quite a long time, if ever, it seems like. So right when this book starts, we are already in the forest. They have already been going through stuff. One of the guys is like knee hurts, the other guy's like feet are all messed up. So right away we're in the atmosphere, in the environment that we're going to be in for the whole book. So if you've seen the movie, because there is a movie adaptation to this, the movie has a little bit more of a story preface for like the reason they're going on this hike and all that. This book just jumps right into that. There's no particular reason that they're on this other than to be on it. Where like in the movie they go for a particular reason and they're grieving somebody. That's not in this book. So right away, the like opening of the story is different versus the movie. But anyways, so this book, you know, I like it. I don't love it. I'm kind of very neutral with it right now. It's probably maybe like right now a 3-ish stars. It is much more of a kind of slower pace story. Think more Blair Witch Project, and that's kind of where this is. It's very atmospheric and very creepy and ominous, but not super action packed so far up to this point. There has definitely been some stuff that's gone down and happened, but it is definitely much more, like I said, like Blair Witch. And there has been a few things that the book has like gotten into that I just wasn't that into. So some of the background for the guys in the story, we get a little bit of their like background life. 2 of the guys are married, and when we talk about that they're married, of course, both of their wives are annoying, or they're really like talked badly about, which kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So it's like, of course, the 2 guys that are married have shitty wives or like complain about their wives or whatever. One was like out for money. I don't even know what was wrong with the other one. One of the guys is also married, but I guess they have a good relationship because we don't talk about it. So of course, the one guy that is married that might potentially have a good relationship, we don't even like talk about that. So the only women we have talked about so far have sucked and been the reason that these guys don't like their lives and wanted to go on this trip and get away in the first place. Or they're going through something and it's the wife's fault. You know, you get what I'm saying? So I didn't like that. And then one of the guys is like overweight, and we are like constantly reminded about it, and it's kind of annoying, to be honest. Like I get it. And then there's this other character, and he just really annoys me because he's like not doing anything on this trip, yet he constantly has an attitude about how they're getting lost and this and that. But it's like, you're not doing anything. Like, if you're mad, try something else. Like, he's getting mad at other people who are actually trying to do something about the situation, and he's just annoying. So, you know, I'm not like super connected to these characters. The writing at times is a little bit like, it's okay. It is very atmospheric. I think it's about to pick up pace a little bit, so hopefully, because it's been a lot of the same so far. And then I also ended up starting The Troop by Nick Cutter. So in The Troop, we are following a group of Eagle Scouts as they go onto this like isolated island in order to get, you know, like Eagle Scout badges or whatever with their Eagle Scout master. Now, as they're camping, they end up running into this man that just like, something's not right with him. Like, he's very sick. They say the human is a carrier of a bioengineered nightmare. So yeah, so they run into this guy, something's not right with him, and he is carrying this bioengineered nightmare. And I am like really enjoying this one. This book is so good so far. I'm like, where am I? I didn't even tell you guys how far I am in the book. I'm like halfway. I'm slightly more than halfway. I'm on page 172. The writing is just fantastic. Like, I really love, this is my first Nick Cutter book, and I really love his writing style. It is very descriptive, but the way he like thinks to describe things is just so, like, I want to eat it up. It is so good and interesting, and I love it. He uses a lot of metaphors and similes. Everything is very beautifully described, despite him describing some very gruesome and disturbing things. So like this line right here, like, it's kind of like a nothing line, but it's just like, it tickles my brain. Claire Paget looks nothing like her son. It strikes this observer that she may subsist entirely upon players' light cigarettes. She chain smokes them ruthlessly, lighting each fresh soldier off the ember of the dead one. Like, all he's talking about is a woman smoking, but like, just to describe it that way, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the writing. The format of this book is also really cool because there's a little bit of like mixed media in it. We have pages that have like evidence logs and pages with like an interview, like a Q&A. We have pages with newspaper headlines or newspaper articles, transcripts from this like research group. Like, so there's a bunch of things that make the story very dynamic and keep you very much engaged. Not only that, I love the characters. The characters are so deep and dynamic. This Eagle Scout group has 5 boys in it, and they're all very different and very individualized characters, and we get a lot of information and story of their lives outside of their current situation, which I always love, specifically with horror. I love when the writer creates a juxtaposition between the terror and horror that this character is currently going through, and then talking about like a thing that happened in their like previous life, because whether or not they survived this horrific occurrence, their life's going to be defined by this before and after this event. So I just absolutely love when a writer creates that type of contrast. There is definitely a lot more physical and bug horror with this book, where the ritual is very kind of just like atmospheric, ominous. There might be something lurking in the woods, just kind of this like constant anxiety and tension. This one is very in your face, a lot of bug stuff going on. So if you can't handle bug stuff, don't read this, because there's so much bug stuff going on. And warning too, there are definitely moments of animal cruelty, animal torture, from like bug to kitten to sea turtle. So far I have been able to kind of try to skip through a kitten scene, which happens in chapter 26. I know that there's a scene with a sea turtle that I have not gotten to yet, so I don't know where in the book that happens, but I will let you guys know to keep cautious of that too. There is one particular boy in this group that I'm not a therapist. I don't know how to diagnose people, but he would definitely lie within potentially being a psychopath or a sociopath. He himself has hurt animals, and he is involved in that kitten scene. So pretty much any scene where he's involved, you're gonna be on edge with, because you don't know what this guy is gonna do. I'm really enjoying the troop, and I'm excited to see where it goes from there. I think that that's all I have for reading updates in particular. So I'm just gonna talk about life for a little bit if you guys want to listen. So currently, me and my fiance were house hunting for a little bit, and let me just say, do not recommend. Trying to buy a house right now is freaking horrible, and I hate it so much. It is like so much more stressful than I thought it would be, and so much more like cutthroat. It's just like so much more conniving than I thought, trying to like come up with an offer. We put an offer on one house and got outbid, which wasn't even like surprising, but still like sucked. There was like 22 offers or something, and we offered like way above asking. We were doing appraisal gap coverage, but I think the person that won offered like a lot of cash or something, if not complete cash. So we can't do that really as for first-time home buyers, so that sucks. But yeah, so we're still kind of looking. We're being much more casual about it, and probably gonna more so dive in when we come back from Italy, because we are going to Italy for like a month in July to get married. So we're just gonna try to focus on that for now. But yeah, house hunting sucks, and it is not fun. It is extremely emotional. And yeah, so there's that. I think that's everything for me right now. That's all my reading updates, but I will update you guys when I can. show you guys really quick what I picked up from Barnes & Noble. So the reason I went, I had a reason, was to pick up the paperback of Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. It's like a Barnes & Noble exclusive. I don't know what that means. I don't know if this is the exclusive part or if there's like additional content. Not sure. But since I was picking this up, it had a buy one get one half off sticker on it. So I spent the next hour or so looking around and trying to find another book that had a sticker that was already on my list, because I do try to just buy books that are at least on my list. I could not find one for the life of me at all, but what I did end up finding was a backlist book for Catriona Ward. So this is called The Girl from Raw Blood. I think it was published originally in 2015. Yeah, it looks like 2015. And it says it is a lyrical and haunting gothic novel of darkness, enduring love, and ghosts of the past. No, it was not on my list, but I love Catriona Ward, so I decided to just pick this one up so I could get, I don't know, so I could spend more money, I guess. But yeah, so I did pick those up today. So I officially finished The Troop by Nick Cutter, and I really enjoyed this book. So it is, I already said a lot about it, but it is definitely body horror, gore, bugs, animals, all that stuff. It is very gross, very disturbing. So go into it cautiously, knowing that those are some major themes of this book. I had much of the same experience finishing up this book. As I had already kind of explained, I still thoroughly loved the writing, loved the characters. I love where the story went. I love how it ended. I just thought it was really fantastic. Really, really great. I'm like between giving it a 4 and a 4.5. The cat hair is insane right now. Oh, and by the way, the turtle scene ends up coming up in chapter 30. So if you want to skip through that, which I did, it comes in chapter 30. So it can't be a true 5 for me just because of those aspects to it. I don't know. It feels weird giving a book 5 stars if there were parts that I had to skip. But that's just like me personally. So I'm between like a 4 and a 4.5. Somewhere in there. It's a high ranking book for me. I thought it was great. If you're into horror, that definitely has a lot of body, gore, bug, gross, disturbing horror in it. I definitely recommend this. If that's not your thing, definitely don't read this. So that is out of the way. So it is April 30th, and I am dumb, and I actually thought that April had 31 days, so I thought I had one more day to try to get another book in, and I don't. So I at least was able to finish that. So I still am in the middle of The Ritual, and I'm quite, pretty much immediately in the middle of it. I'm on page 207. Now I did just sign up for the oh god, what is it called? I just signed up for it, so excuse me. Escape the readathon from Books by Lexi, and for that, it looks so fun and I'm super excited. It's actually the first time I will be participating in like a reading marathon or like readathon like this. It is a team-based readathon, and it's for the whole month of May. She did say that books that fit the prompts, which we don't know yet, we'll know as we go, even if you started them in April, as long as it's like 50% or over 200 pages of it is read for the readathon, that it counts towards the readathon, if that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that well, and I have to double check. I might hold off on reading this any further and see if it ends up fitting any of the prompts for the readathon, So I'm debating on trying to read as much as I can today, because I'm not gonna finish it today, and today's the last day of April. So I don't know if I should try to read as much as I can today or just set it aside and wait for it to come back up for the readathon potentially if it fits any of those prompts. So I'm like on the fence right now if I just want to end this vlog here, having read or finished Air of Fire and the Troop, or try to keep it going a little bit longer and try to finish the Ritual and see what happens with that. I don't know. Just thinking out loud here. Okay, so it is the next day, May 1st, and I realized, so I went back and I was reading kind of the rules of the readathon that I'm participating in, and I realized it is kind of like a hybrid of prompts and self-guided reading, like mood reading. So right now we don't have a prompt as like a team, so we're able to read whatever we want to count towards like our team's number to get to the first prompt. So once I realized that, I decided to set aside the Ritual to just pick up today, because I was literally at 49% of the book, and one of the stipulations was we are able to finish a book that we started in April and count it towards the readathon in May, so long as you read at least 50% or 200 pages of it in May, which both will apply to this book. So pretty much all I did was just not read for the rest of the night yesterday, and we're gonna pick back up reading today. So I did end up reading more of the book. I am currently on page 303. So to recap, at the about 49%, like at that point, maybe a little bit before that, it was kind of just like an okay read. I definitely had some issues with some of the characters' background, the way that that information was given to us. It was starting to get a little bit boring for me, not gonna lie. It was like, okay, it was giving 3-star vibes. That being said, once we get to the like part 2, the few chapters leading up to and into part 2 of this book, it has turned around so much more. Like, it's giving story, it's giving good writing, it's giving interesting, it's giving dynamics. Like, it is such a better book already. I feel like the first 200 pages, a lot of that needed to be either trimmed down or just like made more interesting. Like, I don't even know what was going on with the first 200 pages. Like, again, it wasn't horrible, but it just like wasn't that interesting either. But I'm really liking the direction that the book is going in now. I will say, in comparison to the movie, it is along the same kind of scenario plot-wise, but it is a very different environment, and there's a lot of different elements from what I remember of the movie, which I could be wrong. I know I'm like being super vague, and I'm doing that on purpose because I don't want to give any spoilers, but you would know if you've both read the book and seen the movie. I think I am going to rewatch the movie once I finish this, because I googled it and the movie came out in 2017, so it's been 6 years since I saw the movie, which is insane because it doesn't feel like it was 6 years ago that I watched it. So it's been a long time since I watched that movie, so I am definitely going to rewatch it once I finish this book. But yes, it is definitely picked up, and I really enjoy the elements that's involved right now, and I like it. So I'm going to carry on reading this. I'm going to join some reading sprints that are going on YouTube. I'm gonna eat my dinner, which is a bowl of buttery noodles with cheese, because I am a literal 5-year-old. So this is my dinner. So I'm gonna finish that, and I'm gonna read, and hopefully I can finish this book within the next day, because I want this vlog to be up this Wednesday. So I have today and tomorrow, and that's it. So I'm gonna get to it. I'll give you guys an update when I finish. Okay, so I officially finished The Ritual by Adam Neville. So I am like super torn on this book because I've already voiced all of my issues, and in the last like half, those issues also came up again. So there was another character that we just constantly got reminded was overweight, and it was just like annoying, and it takes me out of the reading. Like, those issues I had with the writing choices were still there, but the story did get a lot better. So I'm like torn because I have issues with it for sure, but the last 200 or 225 pages or so really turned around and made it a much better story. I do really like the direction that it ended up going in, and I liked how it overall ended. We did end up getting a lot more gore and blood and body type horror. I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars, because I think before it was like 2.5, maybe 3. But yeah, I definitely had some issues with it. That is well known. But I do like where the ritualistic aspect of this book was so cool. I really actually liked that part. And there's an element of the latter half that I really enjoyed, which is so general. But yes, I do recommend it if it sounds like something you'd be into. But yeah, maybe you'll like the beginning more than I did. For me, the beginning just wasn't all that I wanted it to be. If you've read it, let me know. Let me know what you thought of it. So moving on from that. So that is logged for the readathon. Moving forward, so this is the end of like the vlog, but I'm just gonna let you guys know what I'm going to read next, so you know to look out for it. So I already started the audiobook of Between Two Fires by Christopher Buhlman? Don't know. I started the audiobook for this book. I was really, really excited to get into this. First of all, I love the cover. And it is they call it an epic tale of medieval horror. So that sounds amazing because I love medieval stuff and I love horror. So I'm super excited to get into this. It has a lot to do with heaven and hell, angels and like fallen angels, that kind of deal. Characters are dealing with the plague and possible, what's it called, when God like decides to wipe people out. Not like apocalypse. They said it in the book too, and I like forget. Like the end of times? What is the religious term for that? Rapture? Is that it? I don't know, you know what I mean. Anyways, so it has to deal with that. I'm enjoying the audiobook so far. I'm super, super early in. I think I'm like 5% into the book. Super early, but I do like the audiobook so far. And then physically, I might read that a little bit physically, but my main physical book that I don't have an audiobook for is going to be Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings. I'm super excited to get into this. This is a romance, so very different than the last few books I have been reading. This is actually the sequel to Magnolia Parks, which I freaking loved. It's very, at least Magnolia Parks was very toxic relationship. Think Gossip Girl, but in the UK. Following this group of friends, these socialite group of friends, rich kids, and they date each other. And that's what this is. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this one because I am particularly interested in the characters that this book explores, so I'm looking forward to it, and I could use a little romance in my life right now. Those are the books I'm reading next. So yeah, let me know what you guys are currently reading. I'd love to know. So that is going to be everything for me in this vlog. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to this point in the video, leave me a tree emoji so that I know. I truly appreciate you spending some of your time with me while I talk about and read books. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any future content. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it so that I know, and it really helps your girl out. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!